So the wind is howling, the snow is coming down. It's the end of January, and I'm back with another video game pickup. So what's going on, everybody? Welcome to January's pickups. First thing, house is coming along nicely. Things are getting unpacked slowly. I still have to finish up the glass cases here behind me, putting things away. You can't see the other ones on the other side, just because of the way I have the camera currently. They're slowly being filled up. Things are coming along nicely. The only thing is I can't find the keys to the coin box to my Sonic Arcade, which hopefully will turn up soon. Otherwise, I'm gonna have another matter on my hands here. Lots of things to do around the house. Lots of repairs I've been working on. I just fixed the sink in the master bathroom finally, so I can actually utilize that now, which is nice. I'm just doing some odds and ends around the house just to kind of make things comfortable for myself. It's kind of amazing that this house that I'm in now is about 50 years younger than my old house, and things still need a lot of work. That was one of the things I was trying to get away from my old place, was the fact there was a lot of money I was pouring into just to keep that house going and keep it stable. Here, it's kind of nuts how that works out. Now, they build houses cheaper now. Things still creak and croak, and it's a mess. Anyway, I was watching Retrobird the other day, and one thing that he had mentioned in his video on full collections and everything was the fact that when you go to somebody's house and you take a look at the games they have, it kind of defines them as kind of their likes and such. And I really find that to be true. So it's kind of funny because now that I've been unpacking a lot of things, I've been going through and kind of deciding if I want to keep stuff or sell stuff, just to kind of make room for things. I've gotten to the point where it's like, okay, it's time to kind of get rid of some of these games, and just not because I need to necessarily, just because I actually want to this time around. In the past, a lot of times when I have gotten rid of games, it's because I necessarily have to, either because of losing a job or whatever happens, or a huge repair I have to do, or bills, or any numerous reasons why anybody really gets rid of video games. So now it's just some of the older stuff that I no longer feel the need to go back and replay, or my interests have changed along there, or what I'm actually looking for. Especially now that I'm slowing down on picking up games for like Dreamcast and Vita stuff, aside from some odds and ends here and there, which you'll see some here in this upcoming pile. But a lot of the older stuff, like OG Xbox stuff, I'm really seeing some PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3 games that I really don't feel I need to hold on to anymore. And it's been kind of a nice relief, in a sense, I guess would be the word, to kind of let this go and just clean up some room and straighten things out, especially since in this place I have a lot less shelving space and a lot less room to really put games. So, anyway, moving on from there, I got kind of a good mix of some interesting stuff. I got some retro, I got some newer stuff for modern consoles, and a couple other strange odds and ends. And we'll start with some of the strange odds and ends, I guess. These were pretty cool. I saw this in a Discord group for Udon Entertainment, who does a lot of the Street Fighter and Darkstalkers comic books, and they release art books and such. And they work with other various, like, they do a lot of Capcom stuff. But somebody had mentioned that they had been picking up pins, which is a real big thing that they've been doing at Udon lately. One of them was this really cool. This one's not really particularly by Udon, but it is Street Fighter related. And one of them is Jury, which is kind of, I don't know how well that camera's going to pick up, but it is kind of a glittery, shiny little Jury figure. They do have Cammy and a bunch of. This is actually from pinclub.com, pin-club.com for those interested. And they do have like some limited Street Fighter and Mega Man pins and so forth. And I just thought it was really cool. Jury is my main character that I play usually in Street Fighter 4. And a little bit in 5. I don't feel she's as strong in 5 as she was in 4. But I really like the character. I like her design. So I felt it was kind of cool to get a hold of that stuff, because I really like one day I hope to maybe get a hold of a Jury statue to kind of go with some of my stuff, and that's getting harder to get a hold of now these days. But along with that, Udon's been working with this other group here. What is this one? I don't remember who this is from, but they did a limited release of Darkstalker stuff, which I'm really excited for. There's a hoodie with Felicia on it coming out really soon. That's supposed to be released in February, so we'll be seeing some of that. But in the meantime, they released these little lucky cat pins shaped like Felicia. So I got the variant color, pink. There was only about 200 of this particular pink variant available. They have a glitter version, which is the chase version, and only 100 of those were actually released. They do have the blue ones coming directly from Udon. They are available right now. You can get. There's the chase one, which is the glitter version, or the standard version. I really didn't care which one I got, so it was just more the fact that I will have both color variants. And it's like I don't really have anything that has the player 2, which is what this one is, variant of Felicia with the pink hair. The one statue I've had in the past sitting behind me at my old place was the blue variant, which is the player 1 Felicia that most people are common with. The player 2 one is one with pink hair. But I picked up those pins just for the fun of it, and for my personal Darkstalkers collection, and a little bit of my jury thing going on. So, moving on from there, this is not a game in particular, but it is game related. This is the final stuff from the Shenmue III Kickstarter that happened eons ago, it seems like. I finally got my last prizes, which was the art book, which I don't have in front of me. It's a nice hardbound art book. And along with that, I got the Shenmue III soundtrack on CD. Now, the interesting thing is, Limited Run released the full Shenmue 3 soundtrack on their website a couple months back or so, and I do have that on order. This particular soundtrack only has 21 tracks from the game itself, so it's a very limited sampling of it, and I believe, yeah, this is the backer exclusive original soundtrack. So the only way to really get this is if you did the Kickbacker or the Kickstarter for this game to get this particular version. So it's kind of cool. Just thought it was neat to have along. Moving into the actual games, Mega Matt 21, or my best friend Matt, actually happened to be at a Target, and they were clearancing out some old games that they found in the back room. One of those in particular was Shin Megami Tensei Strange Journey Redux on the Nintendo 3DS. I'm a big fan of Atlas games for Shin Megami, and they were actually clearancing these out for about $15, I think is what Matt said. But they had 5 or 6 copies of this that they just dug out of the back. And a couple other games too that Matt ended up picking up. That'll probably be in his video whenever he gets around doing that. But kind of excited to get a hold of this, because now that 3DS games are going on the wayside, and in particular Atlas games aren't easy to find because they are kind of on the low print side compared to a lot of other releases. Eventually I'll get around to playing that and dusting off my 3DS, which has been in long dormant hibernation and sitting on a shelf somewhere. So, moving into some older stuff, much older. I actually ordered this a couple months back from an online store in the UK that specialized in imports to the US. In particular, this one kind of interested me. This is one of the variant covers for Dead or Alive 2 on the Sega Dreamcast. This is the Japanese version. And the reason in particular that I wanted to grab this was because the Japanese version was actually released later than the US version that we got on Dreamcast. So this actually has more content in it than what we got. So more costumes, there was some extra, a little bit of extra stuff into it, and it had the uncensored intro, which really isn't a huge deal. There's a very small, minute difference between the Japanese and the American release. I think it was like a 2-second scene that they ended up cutting out anyway, but I won't really go into that. It's not really a huge deal, but the fact that the Japanese version has more costumes and such to unlock was what kind of drew me to it, and it does have some minor improvements. This is pretty much equal to the Dead or Alive 2 hardcore version that was released on the PlayStation 2, but I just feel that it looks a little bit better and plays better on the Dreamcast, and it's another Dreamcast game. So that was exciting, and I got it for a really decent deal on top of it. So moving into some PlayStation 4, and these are actually limited run releases. Really excited for some of their SNK releases that they've been doing. I have skipped down on a few of them and just grabbed the ones I really wanted. One in particular was the Metal Slug Anthology on the PlayStation 4. This will replace my Wii version, being that the controls in the Wii version aren't all that great. The PlayStation versions are far superior in that when it comes to controls, and the fact that it has all 7 of the Metal Slugs on this one, in particular Metal Slug 6, which is also on the Atomus Wave, which is sitting somewhere over here behind me on the Atomus Wave games that I've got. So that way I can play on the console version, which is really neat. And along with that, of course, we got the collector cards. I got Metal Slug Double X, which is essentially Metal Slug 7. I'm really excited with this. I believe this includes Leonia, which is the download character from King of Fighters. And this, in particular, was actually one of my favorite Metal Slug games. So I'm really excited to get a hold of that. I mean, their limited run is kind of killing it when it comes to the SNK releases. I'm really enjoying it. I'm hoping that they come out with the King of Fighters Orochi Saga at some point. I do have that up too on Wii. I'd like to get that replaced and updated with the PS4 version. I mean, I'm thinning out my Wii collection anyway, so it's like I'm only going to be keeping the games I really want, and if that's one more I can get and swap it out for the PS4 version, I'm all for that. Lastly, we had some interesting stuff here on the Vita, good old Vita. Some crazy stuff. I was tipped off that this particular game was on Mercari for a fairly decent price. The thing with some of these Vita games are getting very pricey now. Starting to get into that territory. Not to mention the difficulty of tracking them down. This one in particular was one that I missed some time ago. This is the Asian English release of Resident Evil Revelations 2. Not the best version of Resident Evil Revelations 2. It runs pretty poorly on the Vita, but it is fully in English. This is the only physical version that was released outside of the Japanese version. The fact that it's in English is great, because we only got it digitally here. But this game is really hard to come by, and I regretted not being able to grab it when it was on Play Asia at the time, brand new. But everything is complete. It all arrived nicely, and I was thankful to pick that up. So this one does not have the weird spine like the 3DS version has, where it's misspelled. This isn't in particular. Other than the fact that the novelty of it being the only Resident Evil game in physical form on the PlayStation Vita kind of interested me, and that was the reason I kind of wanted it. Plus, it was in English. But I would never really recommend this to somebody to pick up unless they're kind of nuts like I am, where they want some of those weird games. Next one I picked up was more just for the fun fact that it was super cheap on Play Asia, and I heard a lot of good things about it. This is Macross Delta Scramble. It's still sealed. I haven't opened it yet. Don't at me for this. This one in particular is a 3D mech fighter, which is kind of cool. So you got the air fights and everything with the different Macross suits. And I liked mech fighters, and a lot of people were saying that this is highly recommended and a fun game. And very little knowledge of Japanese is really needed to navigate through the menus or figure out what's going on. I'll miss out on the story, but just for the fun factor of the controls and being able to play this game was kind of my thing, and it was under 20 bucks to really get. So I'm looking forward to popping this one in at some point. And they would add in my Japanese collection. Last two games I got, these were more Play Asia releases for the Vita. These were actually up for pre-order back in, I want to say, October, being that these are more Halloween themed. And as such, we have Halloween Forever, a kind of a ghouls, not really ghouls and ghosts, but it's a platforming game where you play as this little cute pumpkin head guy, you can kind of see here, who shoots candy corn at his enemies. This one is available digitally. I think only 1,500 copies of this were actually released, and this is number 989. But I thought it was kind of cool. There was 3 of them that were released. This one, the other one, and then Kaiwi Desu. I don't remember. It looked weird. It was a weird rhythm beat 'em up game, and I really had no interest in it. So I passed on that one, but I picked this one up, and then the other one, which actually sold out very fast as well. And this is Death Tales. Kind of a weird looking platforming game, but I decided to just kind of grab it because the other one had no interest in me, and this one, a lot of people are saying grab it just because it will be limited. Not many print runs of this one were done. I believe only 1,000 or so, maybe even less than that. This is number 647, and I don't have the information in front of me to pick up to really tell you how many copies were actually made of this, but I do recall this one sold out pretty fast. So yeah, that came in just yesterday, actually. Kind of funny how those are coming in at the end of the month. So, and I do have, of course, more Vita games on the way, and some other odds and ends things. Oh, one more here. Forgot about this one. I also got Limited Run's Grandia collection, which I'm looking forward to popping in because I do have Grandia 2 on the Dreamcast, but now I can play it on the comfort of my Switch on the go. Or pop it in if I want to play it on the big screen, which I'd rather play the Dreamcast one if I was going to do that. But the fact that both games were on here, and I never got the Saturn version of Grandia or the PlayStation version, so now I have both games on one cart, which is nice. So looking forward to popping that in. This may be something I stream somewhere down the line. Right now, I'm actually in the midst of catching back up to where I was on Lunar 2, since I hadn't really spent a lot of time with that. I streamed it for nearly 5 hours and got really into it, so I'm going to try to go back and play that a little more and get through it before I start another RPG. But I'm not sure. Going back to what Retrobird had mentioned, I'm not sure what these games really say about me, other than the fact that I'm still collecting Vita stuff and I'm a little nuts. But I guess you can take in consideration the Dead or Alive, so you have a fighting game along with run and guns for the Metal Slug games, and then a little bit of the RPG stuff. So make with that of you will of what you think of me or my tastes in games. Uh, I know a lot of it's all niche stuff, but some cool things and some stuff that you don't often see from other YouTubers, such as the import games and some of that crazy stuff. But that's it for now, guys. That's all I got for January. And as always, I thank you guys for watching. I will see you next time.